Cormac. This is your practice chanter video for January 29th until whatever, February 4th or something like that next time we meet. We went over the very last page of lesson 1 in the book, which basically has you doing the entire scale on the practice chanter from low G all the way up to high A and then back down to low G again. And what I'd like you to do this week is do it from low G. So that's going to be a challenge, just starting on low G confidently. And I would like you to play it with the metronome. I have this metronome set at 55 beats per minute. I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't really matter, but 55 beats per minute sounds about like this. And the idea is you're going to change the notes at that frequency every time there's a click. So I'm going to start. Get your fingers ready. If you need to pause the video to get your fingers in the low G position, go ahead and do that now. Okay, here we go. So that's what you want to do with the scale. So I'd like you to do that many times in a row perfectly. It's going to take some practice, especially getting the low G position confident. All right. The next thing we're going to do, or that we did in class, and that I'd like you to do some more, is the beginning of lesson 2. And this introduces grace notes. And you may recall the grace notes are these little notes at the with 3 flags. It means it's a 1/32 note. Basically, they're just fast. And there are 3 grace notes that we are going to learn, or you already did learn. It's the high G grace note, the D grace note, and the E. So you've already seen this. And then you may remember that you got to practice some G, D, E triplets, which is on the second page of lesson 2. And so lesson 2 actually has you start off on low G, which is actually a pretty hard one to do. And in this particular one right here, you start on low G, and then you lift the high G finger, and then you lift and put it back down, and then you lift the D finger and put it back down, and then the E finger and put it back down. That's the G, D, E sequence. And then down here, it's showing you 3 of those triplets in a row. 1, 2, 3 of those triplets in a row with the G, D, E pattern. And the trick on this is that you need to start, the very first note in this sequence is the high G, see? So that means you have to start in a very specific way. So first I'll just remind you of the G, D, E triplet itself. You can do it on low A, B, and C. But what I want you to remember when you're practicing this is that first sound the chanter makes is that high G. So what that means is that your fingers have to be in the note you're going to go to, which will be low G, but then you lift this up, and the first sound you make is actually this high G grace note sound, and then you drop it down. So it goes, not like that. Did you see that? So the first sound I made was this. Like that. And then you can proceed with the triplets. Same with low A, right? You're in the low A position. You're going to do a G, D, E triplet, so you bring the high G finger up. Right? So what I'm describing here is how to begin those properly with the G finger in the up position. So work on that for a while, and once you have, come back and we'll talk about the very last thing. The very last thing for this particular lesson for this week is a G grace note with a change of note. Okay, so in this example, you're being asked to play low G and then a G grace note up to low A. And the way we do that is like this. Notice what I did. I started on low G. I lifted both fingers, the finger that has to come up to get you to low A, and the G grace note finger. I lifted those at the same time, like this. but then I'm going to drop the G grace note finger back down to finish the grace note. So it goes like this. Try it with me. That same principle applies every time you go to another note. So let's say we're starting on low A and we're going to go to B, but we want to do a G grace note in between. We do the same thing. We go from the low A position, we lift up the B finger and the high G finger at the same time, like this. And then drop the high G finger. So it goes like this. And you apply this principle all the way up. For now, I would like it if you could do the first bottom 4 notes of the chanter. That's a lot to work on. Happy chantering!